After announcing the results of those who qualified and disqualified from the second stage of the Tournament of Power, Daishinkan says, "Before I announce the third stage, those who were disqualified from the second stage, please go to the space where the disqualified participants are." Without waiting for the participants themselves to move, Daishinkan raises his hands, and then all those who were disqualified disappear from the lower floor where his participants who just finished the second stage are, and reappeared on the platform where the participants who were disqualified before are. Naturally, everyone is scared by this sudden and involuntary teleportation. After doing so, Daishinkan makes the revelation that surprises everyone. Daishinkan says, now it's time to talk about the third stage of the tournament. It will be individual fights with the participation of the Gods of Destruction. Everyone is in shock hearing that. The 4 Gods of Destruction who will participate in the competition are Likir, Arak, Jinn, and Iwan, who are with the participants on the lower floor. The reason they participate in the tournament is that they are representing their universes, and since these universes have a good average, that is, since these gods are doing a good job, they were given the choice of representing their universes in the game themselves. That's better than relying on mortals to win the competition. After Daishinkan announces what will happen in the next stage, the participants' reactions are a bit mixed. Frost, clearly startled by this information, questions Daishinkan. Frost says, "Grand Priest, if you will allow me to speak. Isn't it a bit absurd for us mortals to have to face the Gods of Destruction in this way?" Daishinkan, not understanding the reason for this question at this time, asks, "I don't understand, Mr. Frost. All of you already knew from the beginning that the Gods of Destruction of Universes 1, 5, 8, and 12 would participate in the tournament. Why this protest now?" Frost explains, "With all due respect, it's true that we knew the Gods of Destruction would be participating, but we didn't know it would be one-on-one fights against them. I personally thought we would fight as a team from start to finish." Understanding Frost's reasons now, Daishinkan said, "Oh, I see. Well, maybe I really misunderstood you. I'm sorry." But the Zenos, not so patient with all the questioning, say that if Frost has a problem participating, he doesn't have to. They can erase him instead. Hearing the threat of the Supreme Gods, Frost immediately felt his entire body freeze. While taking a bow posture, he apologizes. "Please, mighty Zenos, I didn't mean to cause any trouble. Naturally, I will participate, of course." With his usual smile, the Daishinkan says, "That's great to hear, Mr. Frost. It would be a problem if we had one less participant." Frieza mocks his universe twin counterpart. "What's the problem? Afraid to face some Hakaishins? I was hoping that the one who had the nerve to threaten me and say is going to defeat me was ready for a God of Destruction level fight." Frost replies, "What are you talking about, Frieza? These are completely different things. Or are you going to tell me that you already have the same level of power as a God of Destruction?" Before Frieza answers the question, Likir does it instead. "Of course not. I've been watching all of you from here, and I've seen how far you all can go. Frieza certainly doesn't have enough power to face any of us. It's just a bluff." Smiling, Frieza responds sarcastically, "Do you really think so, God of Universe 8? I hope that during the rest of the tournament I can show you if my words are true or not." Likir ignores Frieza and glances at Jiren, Goku, and Vegeta. As he watches these three, he thinks, on the other hand, those three are really a big concern. That danger that Jiren represents to us has been known for a long time. He is extremely powerful, a battle machine. Son Goku has also evolved a lot, and if in the last tournament he was already too powerful, now he is even more. This guy named Vegeta also has an extraordinary evolution, and even uses Hakai and has a transformation using that power. I don't know what Beerus has in his head letting the mortals of Universe 7 become so powerful. Doesn't he fear a rebellion? Now he looks at Broly, who is next to Gohan and Piccolo. Likir says, "That other Saiyan is also extremely powerful. I feel like we haven't seen his full capacity yet. I better watch out for him. This other guy called Gohan I already saw in the last Tournament of Power. He's a good fighter and seems to have gotten a little stronger, but he still doesn't represent real danger to me or any other Gods of Destruction. This guy called Piccolo, on the other hand, he had a really significant evolution, and maybe he can take on a God of Destruction that isn't so powerful. But in my case, I'm fine. I know I wouldn't have many difficulties in a fight against him." Gohan, as if he were in a school class, raises his hand as he asks the one who speaks to everyone, "Lord Grand Priest, can you explain what the rules will be for the third stage of the tournament?" The Daishinkan replies, "Oh yes, that's what I intended to do when Mr. Frost interrupted me to ask a question. Well, the rules of the third stage are very simple. You will all have one-on-one combats. The fights will not have a time limit, and the place of the fight will be surrounded by a powerful magic barrier created by myself, which means that you will be able to use all the power you have in peace. As the fights are happening, the winners will advance until finally reaching the final fight, where the champion of the tournament will be decided. Simple, right?" After hearing Daishinkan's explanation, Piccolo thinks, all that show to end up making an ordinary tournament with simple rules. These gods are really weird. Goku, unlike his Namekian friend, is very excited, and while pumping his fists he shouts, "Perfect! This is my favorite type of fight, and it's very similar to the martial arts tournament on Earth. Piccolo, remember when we fought there?" Embarrassed, Piccolo replies, "I don't really like to remember that fight." Vegeta, also liking the idea of the third stage, tells his rival, "Kakarot, this will be the perfect chance for me to finish you off." Goku replies, "It's going to be really cool to fight you, Vegeta. I can't wait to see which power is better, my Ultra Instinct or your Ultra Ego. But there are also other people I want to face, like Jiren." Jiren listens to that in silence, pretending to be ignoring Goku's words, but secretly lets a slight smile escape. Jin interrupts the mortal's conversation by saying, "If you want to fight each other, hope you don't fight me, because you won't stand a chance." Iwan politely scolds his colleague, "Don't talk to them like that, Jin. They've all worked very hard to get here, and they deserve to be respected as warriors. The destroyer of the 12th universe does not share the same vision as the destroyer of the 1st universe," responding, "Don't be ridiculous, Iwan. Gods don't owe respect to mortals." Arak, completely silent, thinks worriedly, "Despite Jin saying so, dealing with some of these mortals won't be easy. I was rooting for them to be injured and tired a lot in the first 2 stages, but unfortunately, they were all completely destroyed by the Grand Priest." Daishinkan, interrupting everyone's conversation and thoughts again, announces, "Now that everything is explained, let's start the 3rd stage of the tournament of power." Daishinkan raises his hands, and at the same moment the ground on which the participants are standing begins to shake violently, and on the ground that was flat, a large platform begins to be raised. After doing this, the Father of Angels says, "This will be the fighting arena. An extremely reinforced ground made with a lot of effort by the Supreme Kais, and with my help, I'm sure it will be enough to withstand the fights, even if it gets damaged." In the platform where the gods are, Shin, next to Beerus and Whis, remembers how much work it took to make the fight platform, making a comical expression of tiredness, just wondering. Goku, very anxious to get started as soon as possible, asks the Daishinkan how the fights will be decided. Daishinkan uses his magic to make an urn appear in front of them, and meanwhile he explains, "Inside this urn are magic papers, with numbers written on them. All of you must take one, and the choice of combats will be made by the numbers of each one. But I want to keep it a secret about who's going to fight who at the beginning, as it'll be much more interesting if you can't strategize in advance to fight. And not knowing who you're going to fight, you won't be able to do that, as these numbered papers contain my magic. After you choose your numbers, I will know without you having to speak, and then I will announce one fight at a time." After this explanation, all participants line up to take their numbers from the urn. After a few minutes, everyone already took out their numbers, and just as Daishinkan instructed, no one announced the numbers they took. Already knowing how to proceed, Daishinkan says, "Right, the fights are already defined. Now I want only participants whose name I announced to remain on the platform. The first fight will be number 1, Cooler, a participant who was born in Universe 7, but is representing Universe 9 in this tournament. And Cooler will face number 2, Son Goku from Universe 7. When this is announced, Goku smiles. "Lucky, I'll fight first. He's not my dream opponent, but if he's Frieza's brother, it means he must be very powerful." Vegeta, who is in his side, says, "Kakarot, Kaba and I saw Cooler fight in the first stage. He didn't appear to be that powerful, but he seems to be hiding power. Take care of him, and always remember he's Frieza's brother, so expect the worst." After listening to the advice of his friend and rival, Goku thanks him. "Thanks, Vegeta, I'll remember that." Cooler, worried, says to himself, "Damn, as far as I know, this Saiyan named Son Goku is one of the most powerful participants. It's very unlucky to have to face him precisely in the first fight." Frieza, who is beside him and hears his whining, agrees. "I agree with you, my brother. To be honest, when it comes to raw power, Son Goku is much stronger than you are." Annoyed, Cooler complains to his younger brother, "Damn, Frieza, is that all you have to say to me? You could at least give me a little hope of victory. Besides, eliminating Son Goku would be beneficial for you, and it would be one less powerful opponent for you to deal with in the future." Thoughtful, Frieza agrees with his brother. "You're right. In that case, I'll give you some advice that might help you win, even if you're weaker." Moving closer to whisper in his brother's ear, Frieza says, "Son Goku, despite being very strong and very good in battles, is a real idiot in other ways. He has a very simple personality, and can be easily tricked. If you know how to play well, he loves fights and feels a lot of pleasure while fighting. So you can use this to make him use little power to prolong the fight and take advantage of an opening to defeat him off guard. If you know how to do this well, you can beat Son Goku even though being weaker." After hearing this information from Frieza, Cooler thanks him. Daishinkan interrupts the participants' conversation by saying, "Only Son Goku and Cooler should remain on the platform now. The other participants must go up to the platform where Likir, Arak, Iwan, and Jin were before. It is on this platform that you will all remain until you are eliminated. After the Grand Priest orders all the participants that were on the lower floor fly up to the platform where the 4 gods were before, leaving only Goku and Cooler in the arena. Goku and Cooler stare at each other in silence for a moment, a little curious about each other. The first to break the silence to say something is Cooler. I must confess that I was very curious to know more about the Saiyan who defeated my brother. Goku replies, I don't mean to be nasty, but I never heard anything about you before this tournament. Why? Cooler explains, it's because before you were born, I was betrayed by Frieza and our father, King Cold. They set a trap for me and threw me in a prison, and that's where I've been ever since, for all those decades. Apparently my name has not been spoken since the moment they chose me to leave in forgetfulness. Goku asked curiously, and why did Frieza and King Cold betray you? Don't you all belong to the same family? Strangely, Cooler smiles, a proud smile, and he answers, it's simple, because my power level was so high that neither of them could defeat me, and that made them fear me a lot, afraid that I would kill them. Frieza and Cold decided to betray me by fighting me together. After hearing this explanation, Goku comments, I think I understand. From what I know about Frieza, he really couldn't stand the idea of having someone more powerful around him. At that time, he was really more powerful than anyone, which means you were pretty awesome in the past. Cooler, I congratulate you on this. Despite Goku's praise, Cooler is not happy. Don't talk like I'm just some relic of the past, boy. I am still not outdated, and I can be considered very strong even today. But Goku disagrees with his opponent. Goku says, look, I'm going to have to disagree. Even if you were stronger than Frieza in the past, that doesn't mean you're a big deal these days. I'm sorry, but your glory days are over. Cooler gets very angry with those words, replying, damn you. How dare you talk to the great Cooler like that? I'll make you suffer for everything you're saying. Cooler launches his own body in a low-flying flight at Goku, who just smiles as he gets into his fight stance while transforming into Super Saiyan. When Cooler arrives with the attack, Goku disappears in front of him, letting the demon pass right through with his punch. And after that, Goku reappears behind Cooler, who, when turning around, is hit in the face by a kick of the Saiyan. The force of the blow causes him to fall to the ground and be dragged for some distance before he finally manages to recover. Getting back to his feet with blood pouring from his mouth, Cooler curses his opponent. Cooler says, damn Saiyan, you're going to pay for this. Goku doesn't respond to him. He just smiles. Even angrier, Cooler charges forward again. Seeing all this from the platform where the participants are watching, Frieza gets irritated. He thinks, Cooler is an idiot. Instead of him making Goku join his game, he is the one who is joining that idiot's game. If he doesn't keep a cool head, he has no chance of winning, or at least causing significant damage on Goku in this fight. Cooler charges at Goku in a low-flying flight, while frantically trying to land many blows on the protagonist, who retreats while dodging the opponent's multiple attacks, until he finds a gap between Cooler's attacks and stops his advance with a blow to the stomach that causes a lot of pain to the demon, who falls to his knees with his hands on his abdomen, agonizing in pain. As he watches his opponent suffer on his knees, Goku reiterates his point. See, I told you, your power has long since passed. Filled with fury, Cooler raises his body to land a punch on Goku while shouting, you bastard! But his wrist is caught by one of the protagonist's hands before it reaches his face. After parrying Cooler's blow, Goku prepares with his other hand a punch that is apparently intended to be his final blow in the match. As he prepares his final blow, Goku says, you're very easy to provoke. You fell for all my provocations, and because of that, you couldn't focus properly on the fight. But before Goku attacks, Cooler smiles as he says, got you. And then he fires from the index fingers of the same hand that Goku holds a laser against the face of the protagonist, who barely dodges the energy, having one of his cheeks injured. But the laser is just a distraction so that Cooler, with his other hand, touches Goku's abdomen and releases a great wave of energy at close range that, hitting the Saiyan, completely engulfs his body. When Goku is hit by the attack, everyone is surprised. Vegeta, very angry, shouts, damn it, Kakarot, what do you think you're doing? Frieza, on the other hand, is a little surprised but happy at the same time. He thinks, looks like my brother is a little smarter than I thought. Pretending to fall for Goku's taunts to make him confident, and then attacking by surprise, was a good strategy. There's no more efficient way to fool an idiot than to make him feel smarter than you. You did great, Cooler, but unfortunately it won't be enough against this guy. Cooler is standing still with his hand extended in the direction where Goku was standing, and in front of him all that can be seen is the dust kicked up by the last attack. When the dust clears, a few meters away is Goku standing still, with his arms crossed in front of his body and transformed into Super Saiyan 2. Seeing what his opponent did, Cooler comments, I see you increased the power of your transformation at the last moment to better resist my attack, didn't you? Very clever. Goku lowers his arms that were in front of his face, revealing a smile. After that, while cleaning the blood that drips from his cheek, he says, "You pretended to attack without thinking to make me drop my guard, didn't you? It was very smart. Your acting really convinced me. You're even better than Frieza at this. If at the exact moment of your attack I hadn't transformed into a Super Saiyan 2 to increase my body's resistance, I would certainly have been more injured now. Maybe even defeated." Forcing a smile, Cooler praises his opponent. "Well, I was counting on you being skilled enough with your transformations to the point where you could switch between your forms so quickly. My plan was to really finish you off with this attack. Too bad." But Goku, unconvinced by the other fighter's last words, says, "Don't try to lie to me. I already know you have more power than you're showing me. I can tell when my opponents are hiding power, and I know you are. Or else you would have started attacking me with all your might earlier, when I was distracted by your plan. You're planning to trick me again into believing that's all the power you have, and then catch me off guard again, right?" After Goku says all these things, Cooler can't hide his surprise. He admits, "You know, for a man with such a simple appearance and personality like you, I think you're a lot smarter than you appear to be." Goku responds with a flattered smile. "Well, you know how it is, right? I think after spending a lifetime fighting, we have to learn a few things." Cooler finally admits, "Actually, you're right. I have more power to use, and I was planning to use that power at a more appropriate time. But if you already know about it, there's no reason for me to hide it anymore, right?" Cooler begins to focus his energy, being surrounded by an aura of power while initiating a strong current of air at that location. The aura of power and dust cover Cooler's body completely, hiding him, so that in the next moment, when the energy aura is dissipated and the dust is dissolved, the appearance of the demon's ultimate form is revealed. After revealing his final transformation, Cooler charges at Goku in a low flight, delivering a powerful punch against him. A punch that Goku blocks with his two arms, but is carried away by the force of the blow, being pushed by Cooler while trying to stop the opponent's advance. With a lot of effort, Goku manages to stop the demon's advance, and then counterattacks with an upward kick that Cooler blocks, but is sent flying into the air with the force of the attack. Goku disappears at high speed from the ground and reappears in the air above, Cooler already pointing two hands at him, ready to launch an attack. The Saiyan shoots a wave of energy from his hands. Cooler needs to turn around, doing a spin in the air and hit back with a kick, diverting the course of energy to the side and avoiding receiving the attack. But this move made by Cooler to counter the energy opened a gap, which Goku took advantage of by swooping down at him at high speed, landing a kick that sent Cooler back to the ground in a violent crash. After that, Goku descends from the sky at high speed to hit the fallen enemy with all violence, but Cooler at the last second fires a laser from his eyes against the enemy, who is just a few meters away from hitting him. Goku has to back off his punch at the last second and cross his arms across his chest to block the laser, which sends him flying back into the air. After pushing Goku away, Cooler stops his eye attack and gets back to his feet. He extends his hands in the air and starts shooting Goku with many energy balls. Goku starts descending towards the opponent, again as he zigzags downwards, dodging attacks. After dodging many attacks, Goku is finally reaching Cooler and threatens a blow. But when Cooler prepares to directly receive the blow, Goku disappears from his sight. It was just a mirage. The real Goku comes up behind with a flying kick that surprises Cooler, taking him off the ground and throwing him away. To stop the movement forced by Goku's kick, Cooler does a somersault in the air and slams his feet on the ground, sliding along it for a few meters before finally coming to a stop. Just when Cooler manages to stop his movement, Goku is already in front of him, again ready to hit him with a punch in a low flight, and when the demon prepares to block the blow, the Saiyan disappears. It was another mirage, but this time Cooler was already prepared, and seeing the real Goku behind him preparing a punch, the demon uses his tail to hold the Saiyan's fist, avoiding the protagonist's punch while capturing his arm. Using the force of his tail, Cooler launches Goku into the air, then extends one of his hands towards him, firing a wave of energy that hits the Saiyan full on. After receiving the attack, Goku falls to the ground a few meters from Cooler, who jumps toward the Saiyan and lands from his jump with one of his knees on the abdomen of the protagonist, who screams in pain. Taking advantage of the fact that he is on top of Goku, Cooler mounts him and begins to deliver a sequence of very violent punches against the protagonist, who puts his arms in front of his face to defend himself from the opponent's punishment, who attacks him with dozens of punches, really fast and strong. To stop Cooler's incessant attacks, Goku brings his fingers to his forehead to teleport, and then he and Cooler, who are on the ground, are instantly taken into the air, which surprises Cooler and makes him stop the attacks for a moment. Such a moment that Goku uses to hit him with a blow and knocks him away. After pushing Cooler away, Goku forms a small energy globe in one of his hands and launches it at the opponent. Cooler deflects the energy, but Goku, already expecting this, teleports to stop in the energy's path and kicks it back at him. Surprised, the demon narrowly dodges the energy that comes back at him, letting the attack pass straight through. But Goku again teleports, kicking the attack once more against the demon, who this time sees no option but to stop the energy with his own hands. But when he does, Goku launches a second ball of energy at the first, hitting it and causing it to explode in Cooler's hands. The explosion isn't huge, but it is enough to hurt the demon's hand while impairing his eyesight. Taking advantage of this gap, Goku teleports himself to Cooler's back with a Kamehameha already prepared, and before the demon could react, he is hit directly by the energy wave, which carries him towards the ground, causing a huge explosion at the time of the collision. After hitting his opponent, Goku lands and waits. A few seconds later, the dust raised by Cooler's collision with the ground and the Kamehameha explosion is dissipated, and the demon is revealed to be reasonably injured, getting up with difficulty. Very angry at the attack received, Cooler curses Goku, who comments, "You fight really well, Cooler. You're even smarter to fight than Frieza. On the other hand, your power is now a little lower than my Super Saiyan 2's power, and since my combat skill is equal or even superior to yours, the difference between our powers defines the outcome of the fight. In short, you cannot defeat me." But then Goku smiles and fixes his own sentence. Or rather, "You can't defeat me with that transformation." The last sentence surprises Cooler, who asks, "What do you mean by this transformation?" Goku explains, "Please, let's be honest here. It's pretty obvious you're still holding your power. From what I understand, in the past, you were stronger than Frieza and your father combined. That means you must be a great prodigy just like Frieza, probably even more. I don't know exactly why Frieza freed you, but he definitely did it for his own benefit. The only reason I can think of for that is that he used you to train, as training with one person brings much more results than training alone. But if Frieza used you to train and increase his power, then you also increase your own power with it. When Frieza trained alone in a short time, he got that golden form. And if you are as capable as him, or even more, I know that you at least got that form." Hearing all these words, Cooler sees that denying it is useless, and finally admits, "You really are a dangerous guy, Son Goku. You have this goofy look and goofy personality, but you're too smart for some things. Alright, I'll admit, I'm still hiding my real power. I was hoping that maybe I could take advantage of some mistake and defeat you using your inferior transformations. That way I could win without expending too much energy. But from what I'm seeing, you're not an amateur, and you're not going to make such mistakes." Goku smiles as he replies, "Well, to tell you the truth, I've made a lot of mistakes when it comes to letting my guard down, and I've been scolded a lot for it. I guess we have to learn at some point, right?" Cooler takes a stance of concentrating energy as he begins to emanate a large amount of power. As he does so, he shouts, "Son Goku, get ready to discover my true power." A globe of energy covers Cooler's body. In a few seconds, this energy, which before had a common color, takes a golden color. A few seconds later, this energy globe is undone while releasing an intense current of air. And at that moment, Golden Cooler is revealed. As Cooler reveals his golden form, Goku smiles as he comments, "Wow, your golden form is even more powerful than Frieza first showed." But before Goku could say anything else, Cooler surprised him and everyone else present by disappearing at high speed from where he is and reappearing behind the protagonist's back, already pointing both hands at him with accumulated energy. "What?" shouts Goku, shocked. "Dad, watch out!" yells Gohan from the audience. A powerful wave of energy is released by Cooler, making Goku disappear completely. Everyone is shocked by that, fearing the worst. Frost, while looking for Goku, asks, "Where is he? Don't tell me he died in that stupid way." But Hit, who is beside him, apparently having already found what he was looking for, warns, "Not this time." And then everyone sees Goku, who's already behind Cooler, but at a safe distance. From the fingers that touch the protagonist's forehead, it is possible to know that he used instant transmission to escape. With a comical expression of relief, Goku says, "Man, that was close. I think I even felt my soul leave my body for a moment." Gohan and Piccolo are both with an expression of relief. The Earthling Saiyan says, "Man, what a scare. Sometimes my father almost kills me from the heart." The Namekian comments, "Just now Goku was talking about having learned not to let his guard down, and then do something like that. This guy has no way." Vegeta, very angry, yells at his rival, "Hey, Kakarot, stop fooling around and pay attention. Do you want to die before fighting me?" Goku complains to Cooler, "Hey, you're a trickster. You tried to finish me off before I could transform and increase my powers." Showing no guilt in his expression of cynicism, Cooler responds, "Should I wait for you to transform and become more powerful to have a harder time fighting? It seemed smarter to eliminate you with a surprise attack." Proud of his brother, Frieza thinks, "Well done, my brother. Keep smart like this and maybe you can win." But now that tactic has failed. It will be hard to find another good opportunity like this again. Smiling but with a slightly more serious expression, Goku says to his opponent, "Well, you almost did it, but unfortunately for you, your plans didn't work out. And now I'm going to be more aware of these things. Get ready because now I'm going to take this fight seriously." Goku transforms into Super Saiyan Blue. Golden Cooler and Super Saiyan Blue Goku face each other. Both have a serious expression indicating that from this moment on, they will take this fight more seriously than ever before. They begin to levitate slowly, gaining altitude as they continue to face each other, studying possibilities for offensive and defensive moves. After reaching a reasonable height, they stop to going up and continue to stare at each other for a moment longer, until they finally decide to attack. Goku and Cooler fly toward each other at the same time and meet midway by slamming their fists together hard enough to create a huge impact wave. After the first shock, they start an exchange of ultra strong and fast blows, and in the first seconds, they keep in complete balance, until Cooler for a moment gains the advantage and starts to pressure Goku more, who retreats through the air while the opponent advances against him. But it doesn't take long for Goku to gain the upper hand, and then Cooler starts to retreat as the Saiyan charges forward, attacking more and more. Goku's advantage doesn't last long either, and both return to exchange blows in complete balance, until Cooler gains the advantage again after landing a strong blow on Goku. A blow strong enough to destabilize the Saiyan for a moment, and then make the Golden Warrior press him again with many attacks that the Blue Warrior defends and dodges with great difficulty while precariously trying to counterattack. But the Demon's advantage is interrupted by a strong counterattack from the Saiyan that, hitting the opponent, stuns him for a moment, and Goku uses that moment to put pressure on him again. And Cooler needs to retreat while receiving the man's attacks, defending himself with great difficulty. In a moment, Goku is about to land a stronger punch on Cooler, and seeing that he would not be able to defend this attack, Cooler escapes by disappearing at high speed in front of Goku, to the next moment reappearing above him and comes down with a kick. Such a kick that Goku also escapes by disappearing at high speed, to later reappear on Cooler's back to land a flying kick on him. Such move that Cooler also avoids by disappearing from the Saiyan's front and then appearing below him with an upward punch, from which Goku also escapes. After Goku escapes the last blow, Cooler, tired of this game, concentrates energy in one of his hands, and when the Saiyan reappears behind him to try the next attack, he tries to launch a ball of energy at the man, who needs to hold the attack and is carried by it for a certain distance. And while Goku is carried by the energy, Cooler flies towards him to take advantage of his busy hands and attack. But just before the opponent reaches him with his attack, Goku manages to get rid of the energy ball by deflecting it, and counterattacks with a wave of energy which Cooler cannot dodge, because he is already too close, and being unable to dodge the attack he needs to block. And then he is also carried by Goku's energy for a certain distance, before finally managing to deflect it in another direction. Gohan and Piccolo watch the fight very closely. Gohan comments, "My dad and Cooler are exactly on the same level, so it's hard to say who will win," but Piccolo disagrees. Actually, no. As things stand, I think we can say that Goku has much more chance of winning. Not understanding the comment, Gohan asks, "Why are you saying that, Mr. Piccolo?" The Elder Warrior explains, "Do you remember that when Frieza first reached Golden Form, he lost a lot of energy? If I remember correctly, the reason for that was that at that time, he didn't train very well to control the power of his form. From the looks of it, it wasn't too long ago that this guy named Cooler was released. So it shouldn't have been too long ago that he acquired Golden Form either. With this, we can theorize that he still does not control this form very well, unlike Goku, who already completely controls the power of the Super Saiyan Blue and is very used to using this transformation." Gohan begins to understand his master's thought. "I see. You mean that Cooler tends to tire a lot faster than my dad. Isn't that right?" Piccolo confirms. "That's exactly what I mean." But Vegeta, who isn't too far away from them, comments, "You're forgetting one thing. Cooler is not Frieza. Cooler's natural power is much greater than Frieza's natural power, which means that possibly his natural ability to evolve is as well. If that's the case, even if he hasn't had much time to train the Golden Form, maybe he'll be able to use this transformation better than Frieza did in the beginning." Seeing sense in Vegeta's comments, Piccolo asks, "Vegeta, do you really think Cooler already has advanced mastery of the Golden Form?" Vegeta confirms, "Yes, I think so. Furthermore, look and feel carefully. It's been some time in the fight, and Cooler's energy level hasn't decreased much. And also his attacks don't seem to waste more energy than necessary." Noting this, Gohan comments, "It's true, Mr. Vegeta. Now that you mention it, Cooler's energy expenditure in this fight doesn't seem different from my dad's energy expenditure." Piccolo says, "In that case, Goku should increase his power level. If he continues to fight in Super Saiyan Blue, this fight can be extended too much, and then he will have unnecessary energy expenditure in this fight, and will get tired for the next ones. It would be much smarter for him to increase the power level and get it over with quickly. After hearing Piccolo's suggestion, Gohan comments, "My father doesn't seem too worried about it. He seems to be enjoying his fight. And if I know him well, he'll keep the fight going for some time, until he feels satisfied." Vegeta agrees. "It's true, this is Kakarot, but if I were him, I'd be very careful with Cooler. This guy seems to be hiding something, besides being very precise and unpredictable in his attacks. If Kakarot is not careful, he could lose this fight, even though he is more powerful." As he listens to the comments of the 3 participants from Universe 7, Frieza smiles discreetly. Does he know something the others don't? Goku and Cooler move at such speed that only the shadows of their movements and the impact waves of their shocks can be seen above the arena. In a moment, the two fly into each other and clash their fists very violently. After the shock, Cooler is the first to strike, hitting Goku hard enough to cause pain. But Goku doesn't let this go unpunished, and then counterattacks with an equally strong attack. And then they both attack at the same time, both hitting and knocking each other away. Goku recovers first and surprises Cooler by teleporting in front of him, attacking the opponent with many blows. After receiving a truly combo from Goku, Cooler reacts by trying a counterattack, but the protagonist escapes using instant transmission again. Cooler tries to reach Goku from a distance by launching a wave of energy at him, but Goku cuts this energy by creating and launching a Kienzan at it. The Ki disc cuts Cooler's attack in half and goes for him. Cooler dodges the disc, but Goku manipulates the attack back to him and does it again and again. As if it wasn't hard enough for Cooler to dodge one disc, Goku creates 4 more, and now the Golden Warrior has to dodge 5 discs. Cooler dodges the attacks as best he can, which are always manipulated back at him by Goku. At one point, to Cooler's surprise, Goku raises both hands to his forehead and yells, "Kaio-ken!" A powerful flash of light emanates from the Saiyan, light so intense that it blinds the demon. Now that his enemy can't see, Goku manipulates all the discs at once towards him, desperate for not seeing, but imagining that the attacks were coming toward him. Cooler shouts, "Damn you, Saiyan!" Cooler suddenly emits a huge amount of power all at once, creating a huge blast of energy around him that destroys all of Goku's Kienzans. After the explosion, Cooler can already see, but when he opens his eyes, Goku is already ahead of him, with his energy concentrated and ready to attack. "Got you," says Goku. "Kamehameha!" With no chance of escape, Cooler takes the attack head-on, being completely engulfed by the massive wave of energy. Seeing what just happened, Gohan exclaims excitedly, "He did it! My dad did it!" Piccolo, with a slightly more discreet smile than Gohan, but also liking what he sees, comments, Goku used the combination of the Kaio-ken and Kienzans to make Cooler open his guard with a desperate defense, and thus he had the necessary gap to reach a definitive attack. He made Cooler believe that the combination of Kienzans and Kaio-ken was his complete move, when actually, it was just a distraction. Even having an opponent with a power level equal to his, Goku managed to decide the fight by cleverly using his good techniques. He could have simply decided to defeat Cooler easily with overwhelming power using a superior transformation, but instead he chose the hard way and find a more challenging way to win, testing his skills as a martial artist. He really is a martial arts master, but then Vegeta interrupts their comment by warning, "Not yet, pay attention." Gohan and Piccolo, only now seeing what happened, are on high alert. When the energy of Goku's Kamehameha is completely dissipated, Cooler is seen in front of him. And contrary to what was expected, the demon resisted the attack very well. And not only that, Cooler now has a new transformation. He's not just using his golden form now, he's using the ultimate golden form. Floating around the fighting platform are Goku and Cooler. The Saiyan is in his blue form, while the demon uses a form that he just revealed, the ultimate golden form, which has the appearance of Cooler's special transformation and also the golden form. Seeing the form his enemy just revealed, Goku smiles and then he says, "I knew you were hiding something else, Cooler." With a furious expression, Cooler exclaims, "You bastard, you almost killed me! If at the last moment I didn't use this transformation, your attack would have torn me to pieces." Goku justifies, "Sorry, but it had to be that way, or else you'd keep hiding your power. And even though our fight was going really well, I wouldn't feel complete if you didn't use your full power." Leaving his anger aside, and now switching to a more neutral expression, Cooler asks, changing the subject, "How did you know I still had one more transformation? I thought you would think my limit was golden form just like Frieza." Goku explains, "First, if there's one thing I've learned during our fight so far, it's that you're definitely a lot more surprising than Frieza. So I already knew I could expect a bigger surprise from you than golden form. Second, even fighting you, I allowed myself to look at the audience for a few moments, if only for a fraction of a second, and looking at Frieza's face, I could see that he's more relaxed than he normally would be, even when you were in bad situations. Over time, I got to know Frieza and his way of thinking, so it helped me to realize that you were hiding something else. And third, when I fight an opponent, I can tell when he's giving it his all or not, and I've noticed that in you too, even though you're a good actor. That's how I came to know that conclusion." After listening to Goku's line of reasoning, Cooler adds, "I see.
So after discovering that I had more hidden power, you looked for a gap to attack me in a way that would force me to use more power, right? Goku confirms. That's exactly what I did, but finding the gap was difficult as you are a very smart and very skilled guy. And to make things worse, your golden form had exactly the same power level as my Super Saiyan Blue. But Cooler, curious, asks, that's what I can't understand. If you knew that I had more hidden power, then why didn't you just use a more powerful transformation to force me to level up? If you had done that, it would have taken a lot less effort. Goku replies, and what fun would it be if I did that? The challenge I set myself was to overcome you at the level of power you were using. And for that I had to push my fighting skills and my ability to strategize combat to the limit. This is the only way to be able to evolve and train even fighting a weaker opponent. Cooler gets very angry hearing this and answers, so you're telling me this fight is just a game for you? Insolent Saiyan, how dare you treat the great Cooler as just a training toy? But Goku, keeping a cool head, responds with a teasing smile on his face. Well, if you want to be treated like something else, prove yourself worthy through your power. Upon hearing such words, Cooler does not contain his fury and advances against Goku without any response, applying a powerful punch to the chest of the Saiyan, who cannot even react, and is thrown from the top of the floor to the fighting platform in a collision with his back, causing some cracks. As soon as he collides with the ground, Goku sees Cooler descending towards him with one leg outstretched, ready for a powerful stomp. The Saiyan immediately rolls across the ground to escape Cooler's footfall, who hits the ground by sinking his foot into it. Escaping the Golden Demon's blow, Goku leaps to his feet and lunges forward to punch Cooler, who easily blocks his punch with one of his arms, and with the same arm grabs Goku's wrist and pulls the Saiyan towards him at the same time. He lands a knee on the man's abdomen, who spits blood with the force of the impact on his stomach. After kneeing Goku, Cooler lets go of his arm and with the same hand grabs the Saiyan's neck, strangling him. As he does so, he points his other hand towards Goku while building up energy and says, "Time to die." But Goku immediately reacts by emanating at the same time the aura of Super Saiyan Blue and Kaio-ken. His key force pushes Cooler away immediately. Smiling, Goku says, "As I expected, you completely surpassed my Super Saiyan Blue's power. But what if I increase that power by 10 times? Goku advances against Cooler, trying a sequence of blows, which are all defended by the demon, who counterattacks with blows that Goku cannot defend so well, and retreats pressured by the opponent. Unable to keep up the melee fight for long, Goku backs away from Cooler while firing an energy ball at him. Cooler deflects the energy with a slash with one hand, and with the other hand he also fires an energy ball at Goku, who tries to block the attack, but is charged by him. When Goku finally manages to divert the energy, Cooler is already right behind him and hits him with a very hard punch in the abdomen, making the Saiyan bend his body in pain. Taking advantage of Goku's curved body, Cooler lands a knee to his face, launching Goku into the air, but grabbing the Saiyan's ankle before he gets out of reach of his arms, and slamming the man with great force against the ground, causing Goku to break part of the platform with his back while screaming in pain. Cooler grabs Goku's face with one of his hands as he aggressively presses the Saiyan's head into the ground, and after trapping his opponent's head, Cooler brings his face closer to him, coming face to face with the opponent. When he does this, his eyes spark with bright energy, signaling that a super concentrated laser of power would be released at any moment. Realizing that he would be killed with the attack to come, Goku immediately releases the Super Saiyan Blue energy with the Kaio-ken again. But this time the aura of power is much greater, as it is increased by 20 times. The power suddenly released by Goku knocks Cooler away, saving the protagonist from a deadly attack. After pushing his opponent away, Goku gets up and comments, "You really don't like wasting time. If I'm not too careful, you could finish me off at any moment." Cooler replies, "I'll make you regret not taking me seriously, Saiyan. That's a promise." As he unleashes even more power, Cooler charges towards Goku, who gets into his combat stance as he prepares for more. On the platform where the qualified participants for the third stage are, everyone is watching very attentively. Piccolo comments, "Goku was very smart to notice that Cooler was still hiding power, even after he used golden form. But is it really wise to extend this fight even further? Cooler has already proven to have very dangerous moves, and a great thirst for blood. He almost killed Goku at least 3 times during the fight." Gohan replies, "My father knows the risks very well, Mr. Piccolo, but he doesn't care. All he wants is a good fight where he can evolve as a fighter." Frieza, who is not too far away from them, comments while flashing a smirk, "I have nothing to complain about. In the end, this is very good for Cooler, since if Goku decided to fight seriously from the beginning, this fight would not have lasted even 1 minute. I hope Goku gets as tired as possible in this match, and if I'm lucky, maybe Cooler can be able to inflict a big injury on him or even win this fight." Vegeta appears to be in a very bad mood as he listens to Frieza's words. He thinks as he glances with a suspicious expression at the Emperor of Evil. Something isn't right here. Even though Cooler is showing all this power that surpasses the golden form, Frieza is very calm. The Frieza I know couldn't bear the thought of being bested by the brother he'd been imprisoned for decades. To me, that can only mean that this bastard is also hiding great power. Kakarot, you idiot. While you're wasting your energy against Cooler, it's Frieza you should be thinking about. In another part of the same platform, the 4 gods of destruction who will also fight in this competition observe the fight. Iwan, Arak, and Likir watch the fight intently, while Jin stands indifferently to the side. Iwan comments with the other gods, "Wow, these two are amazing. I already expected that from Son Goku because I saw him fight in the last tournament. But this mortal called Cooler is also fighting very well." Arak, not hiding his concern, says, "I thought this guy called Cooler was the weakest participant out of all, and he already showed 2 extra transformations that increased his power absurdly. Have you ever stopped to think about what the other participants might be hiding?" Likir, more focused and concentrated than the other two, says, "It is true that this demon called Cooler has shown much more power now than in the second stage, and his power is really surprising for a mortal. But there's a bright side to all this. At least he and Son Goku are fighting on equal terms, and that's good for us, and whoever wins will be more tired in the next stages." Jin tells them, keeping the expression of tranquility, "Don't you think you're worried too much? Gods like you should be ashamed of yourself for being so concerned with the performance of these mortals. We belong to a higher level. You shouldn't stoop to that." Iwan scolds the other god. "Jin, you know the power of mortals very well, and you know that some of them are even capable of surpassing the gods. Shouldn't you take this more seriously?" Jin replies, "Of course I know the power of these mortals, especially Son Goku and Jiren, and there are other very powerful ones among them as well. But what can I say? I trusted my power, and especially my divine intellect." While looking suspiciously at the god of Universe 12, Likir asks, "Jin, you're hiding some trick, aren't you?" Displaying a cynical smile, Jin just says, "Well, who knows?" Arak interrupts the conversation of the other gods by warning, "Pay attention. It looks like they're already reaching the climax of the fight." Above the combat platform, several bolts and waves of impact can be seen, resulting from the extremely fast movement and extremely strong attacks of the combatants. In another one of these shocks, Goku and Cooler collide their bodies, suddenly stopping each other's movement. For the next moment, they start an exchange of punches and kicks so fast that their hands and feet can barely be seen, and so strong that the shock of their attacks creates many electrical bolts that expand around them and even reach the platform below. Cooler hits Goku with a strong punch in the abdomen, but the Saiyan immediately responds with a punch in the face of the demon, who, upon seeing a second punch from the opponent coming, launches a laser from one of his fingers that Goku needs to dodge, but even so being cut superficially on one of his arms. Taking advantage of the gap that Goku opened by dodging his last attack, Cooler lands a kick on the Saiyan, who falls at full speed towards the ground. But before crashing violently onto the platform, Goku manages to avoid the complete fall by doing several acrobatic moves on the ground, until he finally manages to stop on his feet. But when he finishes his movements to stop the fall, he sees that Cooler is already approaching him, like a missile on a low flight, projecting his body in a way to attack him with his horns, like a true golden bull. Goku grabs Cooler's horns, trying to stop his movement, but Frieza's brother's strength is so great that Goku is dragged by him as he digs his feet into the ground with all his might as he tries to stop him. Goku is dragged many meters before finally managing to stop Cooler, luckily managing to prevent his horns from piercing his body. And immediately after stopping Cooler, Goku takes advantage of his position to raise his knee with all of his strength against the demon's face, which, after receiving such a strong knee, is stunned while backing up, trying hard not to fall backwards. Taking advantage of this, Goku moves forward to start a sequence of blows, but Cooler reacts quickly, stopping him while shooting a laser from his eyes, which Goku needs to dodge urgently by crouching down, letting the attack pass over him while even pulling out some strands of his hair. But despite dodging the attack that comes from above, Goku is unable to dodge his next attack, which comes from below, with Cooler taking advantage of his crouching and hitting him with a kick from below that hits the Saiyan's chin. But Goku is not shaken by the blow, and instead of falling backwards to the ground, he does a back somersault and lands on his feet, to immediately charge towards Cooler with a leap and hit the demon with a direct punch to the abdomen that causes him a lot of pain. Cooler tries to counterattack, but Goku disappears in front of him, reappearing on his back to try a kick that would hit his head. But Cooler acts quickly, using his tail to grab Goku's leg, and after doing so, still using his tail, throws the protagonist backwards onto the ground. Cooler turns around, pointing his two hands at Goku, which already concentrated energy. The protagonist sees this with a fearful expression as he moves his fingers towards his forehead. In the next moment, Cooler launches his attack against the ground, but he misses, seeing Goku appear with the instant transmission behind him, already preparing the counterattack. The Saiyan also fires an energy attack, which Cooler deflects to the side as he turns around, delivering an inverted punch on the energy. After doing so, he charges at Goku in a leap, hitting the Saiyan with a strong punch in the chest. Goku holds Cooler's arm across his chest, then counters with an equally hard blow to the opponent's chest. who also grabs his arm. Now both are stuck with each other. Cooler, enjoying this situation very much, says, "You idiot, haven't you learned anything about my attacks? Coming face to face with you is a perfect situation for me." Cooler begins to focus a large amount of energy into his eyes as he says, "Now you won't be able to escape or defend yourself. I will completely destroy your head with this attack." But Goku smiles and says, "It's you who didn't pay attention to my attacks." Goku does a leap, taking his legs off the ground and bending his knees so that his feet are right in front of Cooler's face. And then he shouts, "Take this! Kamehameha increased 20 times!" A powerful wave of energy is released from Goku's feet, hitting Cooler at close range and completely engulfing the demon's body. With the force of the attack coming off his feet, Goku is carried away while Cooler is carried by the energy in the opposite direction. Cooler, carried by the attack, collides with everything against a transparent barrier at the end of the platform, and in the moment of shock, a huge explosion occurs. Goku, who was heading the other way, cancels the energy coming out of his feet while doing several acrobatic moves across the ground until he finally manages to stop his movement. And after stopping, he looks closely at where Cooler is. With the dust from the explosion clearing, Cooler can be seen slumped sitting on the platform with his back propped up against the invisible barrier. He's passed out and back to his base form. Goku smiles. Daishinkan, seeing this, declares, "The winner of the first match is Son Goku from Universe 7. The Zenos behind the Grand Priest cheer, commenting on how cool and smart Goku was in that fight. On the platform of the third stage participants, Gohan joyfully celebrates his father's victory, while Piccolo besides him limits himself to a discreet smile. Vegeta keeps serious. He thinks, "Do you think that's a victory, Kakarot? Using Kaio-ken in that fight consumed much more energy than you should have spent for the first fight." Frieza maintains a smile despite his brother's defeat. He thinks, "Well, for a moment I believed that Cooler would actually win, but Goku outwitted him in the end. At least my brother did a good job, making this idiot use a decent amount of energy. This will make my work easier in the future." On the platform where the non-participating gods and angels watch, Beerus angrily comments, "Goku is an idiot. If he used Ultra Instinct from the beginning, he would have defeated this guy called Cooler in less than 10 seconds. But he chose to put on this whole show and waste an absurd amount of time and energy using Kaio-ken. I will never understand these Saiyans." But Whis argues with the god of destruction. "Actually, Lord Beerus, you are much more like Mr. Goku than you might think. Don't you remember your fights against him in the past? You also had enough power to defeat Mr. Goku very quickly, but used little power on purpose, to prolong the fight and have fun." Confronted with this hypocrisy, Beerus becomes very angry and responds, "Don't talk nonsense, Whis. That was very different." Shin, beside them, says, "Let's look at the bright side. The important thing is that Mr. Goku won the fight and qualified for the next stage. Our universe has a large number of participants in the competition, and one of them has already qualified to the first fight. I think we're pretty good for now." Beerus agrees. "You're right. The situation is much worse for Sidra, who only had 2 participants, and one of them has already been disqualified." Sidra, who is on the same platform but a little further away, has a serious expression. Next to him are Ro and Mojito, who are respectively the Supreme Kai and the Angel of their universe. Ro, the Supreme Kai, is very angry at the defeat of his universe's competitor. Ro says, "Damn this guy named Cooler. He says he's so proud of his power and loses in the first fight." Mojito, the Angel, comments, "Well, I think we should at least congratulate him for keeping up a fight against Son Goku for so long. To be fair, we can say that he was a bit unlucky to face such a strong opponent." But the Kaioshin doesn't seem to be so understanding, retorting the Angel, "No matter the circumstances, a bastard as arrogant as him should have gotten further. Damn, I can't believe we're going to lose again." But unlike his counterpart, the god of destruction, Sidra, he seemed a bit more resigned, maintaining a serious expression. Noticing the destroyer's calm posture, Ro asked, "Sidra, you're not going to say anything? Don't you understand our situation?" When questioned, Sidra replies, "We haven't lost yet. We still have Frieza in the game." Ro is not satisfied with the answer. He argues, "And that alone is a reason to leave you so calm. We saw Frieza's power in the last tournament. He is powerful, but he is far from being the most powerful among the remaining participants." Sidra doesn't answer anything. He remains silent with a serious expression, which can even be interpreted as fear. Realizing this, Ro glares at the god of destruction a little suspiciously. On the fighting platform, Goku walks up to the fallen opponent. Cooler seems to be starting to wake up. Very wounded and angrily acknowledging his defeat, the demon closes his eyes as he exclaims, "Damn, subjugated by a Saiyan. How could I fall from grace like that?" Reaching out to his defeated opponent, Goku extends his hand as he reverts to base form. He says with appeasing intent, "You fought very well, Cooler. You barely managed to defeat me." But Cooler, not sharing the same peaceful intention, replies, "Do you think we'll just shake hands and be friends? Don't make me laugh, Saiyan. I'm going to get more powerful, and I'm going to destroy you. Do you hear me? Goku gives up on the handshake and then scratches his head as he says with a smile, well, maybe you might see this as a tease, but I really can't wait to fight you again. Sighing, Cooler comments to himself, this guy is a complete idiot. Daishinkan interrupts the conversation by saying, with the end of the first fight, Son Goku must return to the classified participants platform, while Cooler must go to the disqualified participants platform. Allow me to perform this procedure. Daishinkan raises both his hands. At the same moment, Goku and Cooler disappear from the combat platform. Cooler reappears along with the other participants who were disqualified in the previous stages. Seeing him, Kabe praises him. Mr. Cooler, when I fought you, I didn't even imagine that you had so much hidden power. I gave everything I had in that fight, and yet you managed to stand up to me with so much power hidden away. Honestly, I'm embarrassed, but I have to say that you are amazing. Glancing at the young Saiyan with contempt, Cooler just sighs. Goku reappears on the platform of classified participants alongside Vegeta. He says to his companion, did you see that, Vegeta? I won. That Kamehameha move of mine was pretty cool, wasn't it? But Vegeta, not sharing the same excitement, shouts as his rival, have you lost your mind, Kakarot? How can you be proud of this fight? Not understanding Vegeta's point, Goku asks with a confused expression, I don't understand. Why are you so mad? Daishinkan finally announces the next fight. Daishinkan, now pay close attention. The next fight will be between participants number 3, Jinn, the god of destruction from Universe 12, who is representing his own universe, and also participant number 4, Dispo from Universe 11. Receiving this news, Dispo is completely mad. What? Am I going to have to face a god of destruction? Why me? Jinn, on the other hand, was much more relaxed. He smiles in satisfaction as he says, well, looks like I got a little lucky. I won't need to try too hard in the first fight. Iwan, alongside Universe 12's Destroyer, warns, don't underestimate your opponent, Jinn. Mortals can be surprising sometimes. But Jinn doesn't mind such advice, replying, don't talk nonsense. This man called Dispo may be powerful by mortal standards, but compared to me, he's just rubbish. Likir agrees with him. It's true. Among the opponents that could represent danger to us, this guy called Dispo is certainly not included. You're a lucky bastard, Jinn. With an arrogant posture, the god who is about to fight says, don't talk like I need that luck, Likir. Jinn takes a leap from the platform where the third stage participants are standing, landing on the fighting platform below. Turning to the platform he just stepped off, the god of destruction yells at his foe, hey mortal, what are you waiting for? Come at once. Dispo, alongside his teammates Jiren and Toppo, clutches his ears in desperation, wondering what he should do now. What do I do? What do I do? I can't defeat a god of destruction. That's crazy. But Jiren scolds his companion. If you start the fight with that thought, you are sure to lose. If you want to have chances to win, you need to have confidence in yourself and your abilities. Dispo responds to his companion. But Jiren, this isn't a matter of trust. He is a god of destruction. Jiren replies, so what? That god of destruction were once mortals too. Just like us. They have weaknesses. The gods are not unstoppable. But if you believe they are and define your defeat before combat even begins, they will be unreachable for you, just like any other opponent. With a slightly less desperate posture, Dispo asks, are you saying I'm seeing the gods as bigger than they really are? Jiren confirms, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Contrary to what they would have us believe, the gods are not perfect. There are flaws in their attacks, their defenses, and above all, there are flaws in their personalities. Their arrogance makes them always undermine us, and because they believe that we are not worth their effort, they tend to face us without taking us seriously. Understanding the words of the man capable of defeating the gods, Dispo says thoughtfully, I think I understand what you mean. You mean he's going to underestimate me and I can use that to find an opportunity to beat him, right? Jiren confirms and adds, yes. About this god named Jinn, his arrogance seems to me to be even greater. He seems very confident of his superiority, and seems to despise you as a warrior. If you can take advantage of it, you can defeat him. But you need to be quick. He's definitely more powerful, and if he decides to fight seriously, you won't stand a chance. Dispo nods his head as he says, got it. Thank you, Jiren. Toppo touches his friend and subordinate's shoulder as he says, Dispo, you've trained hard all these years and increased your power. You are the fastest man in Universe 11. Don't let this god underestimate you. Now much more determined, Dispo exclaims, right, count me in. I won't put Universe 11 to shame. Daishinkan asks, Mr. Dispo, please come to the combat platform. Full of motivation, Dispo makes a leap from the participants' platform, landing on his feet in the fighting platform before facing his opponent, who faces him with a smile saying, you seem pretty excited for someone in such a desperate situation. But Dispo doesn't let his opponent scare him, replying, guess what, you asshole? I'm not in a hopeless situation as it looks. Jinn is truly surprised by that answer, taking a few seconds to assimilate Dispo's words and finally draws his conclusion. Well, I guess you must be a dumber man than you look. That's the only plausible answer to not understanding that you're already lost this fight. Dispo makes his fighting stance while revealing an apprehensive smile, a bead of sweat trickling down his forehead. On the platform where none of the participating gods and angels watch, Belmont carefully observes what happens on the combat platform. Beside him are Margarita, his master and assistant, and Kai, the Supreme Kai. Margarita has an expression as concentrated as Belmont's, while Kai is completely desperate. The Kaio-ken says, "Oh no, we're lost. Dispo is very powerful, but he can't face a god of destruction." Looking to the side, Kai sees that Belmont and Margarita, unlike him, are not in despair. Troubled and curious about this, he asks, "Belmont, how can you be so calm? Can't you see that one of our fighters is about to lose?" Belmont replies, "The fight hasn't started yet. Don't be hasty." The god of creation is very surprised by the god of destruction's response, and then insists on his point. But Dispo's opponent is Jinn, the god of destruction. The fight needs to start for us to know the result of this. Belmont scolds his counterpart while keeping his expression serious and focused. "You shouldn't underestimate our warriors. It's a big mistake." Kai keeping a fixed gaze on the clown god for a few seconds while he thinks suspiciously, "What do you mean? Does Belmont know something I don't?" Kai directs his gaze towards the fighting platform to observe closely what will happen. Dispo and Jinn face each other. Universe 12's God of Destruction has a calm expression evidenced by a confident smile and the absence of a combat stance. The Universe 11 mortal, on the other hand, maintains a combat posture as he gazes intently and intensely at the deity before him. Dispo starts running towards Jinn, who remains standing, still waiting for his opponent. But instead of charging directly at his opponent, Dispo changes the course of his run, switching from moving in a straight line to circling, running so quickly around Jinn that it creates an air current as strong as a whirlwind around him. Jinn stands in the center, seemingly unconcerned with what Dispo does. In a moment, out of the dust comes Dispo, coming to attack Jinn from behind. But noticing the speedster's approach, Jinn turns with a kick that hits Dispo before the mortal hits him. But Dispo immediately disappears, revealed to be an afterimage. Seeing this, Jinn comments with an expression of boredom, "Seriously, you want to tackle me with such a childish trick?" Dispo comes out of the dust again, this time from the side of the god of destruction, who this time hits him with a punch. Again he disappears. But now many Dispos appear from the dust, attacking Jinn from all sides, causing irritation to the destroyer, who screams as he sees that many Dispos approaching. "Don't you dare bore me with your silly tricks." Jinn releases a large amount of power, causing an air current so powerful that it makes all the Dispos disappear, and also hitting the original Dispo, who was coming through one of the sides of the destroyer. The current of air caused by Jinn's release of power undoes the whirlpool of dust created by Dispo as the mortal warrior is thrown away, being dragged many meters along the ground before finally managing to get up after an acrobatics. With an apprehensive smile, Dispo thinks, "Well, it looks like it didn't work out." Annoyed, Jinn says, "It's almost blasphemous of you to use such a ridiculous trick against me, a god of destruction." Dispo replies, "Then allow me to try other things." Dispo charges towards Jinn at high speed, reaching him in the blink of an eye with a frontal punch that Jinn stops with his hand a few meters from his face. Dispo disappears at high speed from the destroyer's front, going behind him for a kick that Jinn turns to block. The next attack comes from one side, a punch that Jinn blocks, then an attack from the other side, another punch parried by the destroyer. Then a blow from above, an axe kick that Jinn also blocks. After having his aerial kick blocked, Dispo moves away with some somersaults in the air, and as soon as he reaches the ground he shoots an energy laser at Jinn, who still remains standing in the same place, deflects the energy with a blow that he clearly did not need to put a lot of force. Angered, Jinn threatens his opponent. "Listen, if you keep insulting me by attacking me in this ridiculous way, I'll lose my temper and make you pay with your own life." After that, a little calmer, he explains, "I could have killed you from your first attack, but I want you to use all your power before that. I don't think you are worthy of my patience, but I don't want my fight to be so quick and dull, because it would be a shame for a god like me not to be able to provide in my fight the least bit of entertainment for the great ZENO. I want you to use your full power, that skill you will use during the Tournament of Power. Even using that, you're still trash compared to me, but I'll at least have a little dignity in this ridiculous fight." After listening in silence to all his opponent's words, Dispo justifies himself. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to piss you off. I just wanted to warm up my body a bit before using it, and I also wanted to see your movements at least a little bit. But since you asked so kindly, I'll show you what you want to see." While focusing his energy, Dispo shouts, "Super Maximum Light Speed Mode!" Dispo is immediately surrounded by an aura of purple energy, the same power he used against Gohan and Frieza in the first Tournament of Power. After releasing this power, he says, "Now let's get started." Dispo moves at high speed towards Jinn, running in a zigzag pattern, leaving multiple residual images in his wake. creating an optical illusion caused by his great speed. Jin stands still waiting for the opponent, who comes at him firing a punch that the destroyer parries. But in the next second, Dispo attacks with a sequence of extremely fast punches, whose only bolts can be seen. Jin stays still while blocking all those blocks, but it's visible on his face that it's not being so easy to defend Dispo's attack standing like that. At one point, the destroyer parries a punch from Dispo, but another block he barely sees coming close to his face. Such a blow he couldn't block with his arms, and then Jin has to dodge, leaping back. When this happens, Dispo smiles. Well, looks like I finally made you move. I guess I'm not that insignificant after all, right? Still maintaining a superior smile, Jin replies, "You idiot. Are you really happy that you can only make me move even after releasing all your power?" Dispo says, "This is just the first step. Until the end of this fight, I will manage to make you bleed." Jin is surprised to hear this promise, and then he smiles as he says, "I see. Apparently you received some heavy blow to the head during the second stage and went crazy." Despite the provocation, Dispo smiles and says, "Today I'm going to wipe that smug smile off your face." He charges at the God of Destruction at an ultra-fast run, attacking him with a combo of hundreds of thousands of super-fast punches that can barely be seen, such that Jin blocks while retreating, letting his opponent advance. Dispo carries the God of Destruction across the combat platform while they're about to reach the edge of the platform where there is Daishinkan's invisible barrier. Realizing that he would be surrounded if he kept going back, Jin decides to change course, taking flight to escape Dispo's frantic blows. But in a fraction of a second, Dispo is already in front of him again, continuing the sequence of attacks and again making Jin retreat towards the barrier, this time through the air. Annoyed, Jin asks, "Damn, you're annoying." Jin finally decides to attack and then throws a punch towards the mortal's chest, who crosses his arms in front of his body to block, but when this blow hits, Dispo feels a great pain and is thrown to the ground, breaking part of the platform ground with his body. Dispo has both of his arms broken and a large amount of blood oozing from his mouth, the result of the injuries he suffered in his lungs due to the impact of the punch. Seeing this with great concern, Toppo screams for his friend. Toppo's intention was to advise Dispo to give up, but Jiren, already realizing what he would do, scolds him. "Toppo, don't even think about doing that. Dispo is a Pride Trooper warrior. Don't ask him to give up a fight, especially after we've given him hope for victory." But Toppo argues, "But Jiren, Dispo could barely withstand that attack. If he continues this fight, he could get killed. At no point was a rule given about not killing, and I'm sure this God of Destruction won't hesitate to do so." Jiren also argues, "Dispo knew the risks when he went into the fight, and he still knows it now. If he doesn't want to give up, it's not up to you to encourage him to do so. A Pride Trooper should never abandon his pride. You should know that better than anyone else." Toppo listens to all these words in silence, then lowers his head while sighing. Jiren is right. And then, completely changing his demeanor, the Pride Trooper leader clenches his fists tightly as he shouts to his comrade on the platform below, "Dispo, show this arrogant god true justice." Looking up at the platform above him, from which Toppo is screaming, Dispo smiles. Overcoming the extreme pain, he gets up and looks at Jin floating above him, who says, "You are ridiculously fragile. One punch from me, using just a little bit of my strength, was enough to cause extreme damage to your body. It is sad that someone like me has to fight such an inferior opponent. I was hoping that if you used your maximum power, you could make me give the great ZENO a fun fight, but I was wrong." To the surprise of Jin and everyone else, Dispo smiles in a teasing gesture and replies, "You're just talking with all that arrogance to cover up what just happened." Jin doesn't like that statement and asks what Dispo means by that. The bunny-eared warrior replies, "A moment ago I was pushing you, wasn't I? Admit it. You had a hard time defending against my super-fast attacks, so you retreated and counterattacked. It must be very shameful for a god of destruction as great as you not to be able to maintain the defense against the blows of a mortal as inferior as I am." Jin is very angry to hear that statement, having his pride as a god wounded by the words of that lesser mortal. He threatens his opponent. "Don't play with my patience, boy. If you keep teasing me, don't think I'll show mercy on your injuries." But Dispo continues with the provocation. "And who said I need pity from an idiot like you?" Not holding back, Jin charges towards Dispo in a descending flight, heading towards the mortal warrior with bloodthirsty as he screams, "I'll kill you." But to the surprise of the God of Destruction, in the blink of an eye, Dispo is already ahead of him, intercepting his advance with a strong flying kick that hits Jin right in the middle of his face and makes him retreat, cutting the air at high speed and colliding violently with the platform barrier. Jin hits the invisible barrier with his back and slides through it until he lands on his feet with his back against the barrier. A second later, blood trickles down his face, surprising him. "What's going on? What was this? How did you manage to be so fast, surprising me like that?" On the participants' platform, everyone is in complete shock seeing that. Goku, completely impressed, comments to Vegeta, who is beside him. Vegeta, did you see what just happened? Equally surprised, the other Saiyan replies, to tell you the truth, I only saw the moment he hit the God of Destruction in the face. He moved so fast that it was imperceptible to my eyes. On the same platform, Jiren and Toppo are equally surprised. Jiren, did you see what just happened? The Grey Warrior responds to the Mustachioed Warrior. For a split second, Dispo drastically increased his speed, becoming much faster, even compared to his super maximum light speed mode. What's going on? Does he have some kind of trick we don't know about? On the platform of the Spectator Gods, Kai is in complete shock, wondering how Dispo was able to do that. Beside him, Belmont and Margarita don't seem to be surprised. They just keep focused on what's happening on the combat platform. The Destroyer comments to the Angel. Belmont says, Margarita, looks like he's going to use that. Looking at his counterpart, the God of Creation asks, Belmont, what are you hiding? Do you know what Dispo did? Belmont doesn't respond. He just keeps watching. Dispo, who has already landed again, faces his opponent with a smile. As he does this, he begins to show a different kind of energy. His super maximum light speed mode's purple aura now becomes much more intense, while causing a strong current of air around and emanating light around him. Dispo's body begins to vibrate intensely, and then his broken arms, as they vibrate, begin to return to their normal position. Seeing this, Jin wonders in surprise. Is he healing? What does that mean? Afterwards, Dispo's legs drastically increase in musculature, becoming more than twice their original size, while the veins and arteries also enlarge, becoming visible even under Dispo's clothing. Seemingly ready to start the fight again, Dispo says to his opponent as he takes his fighting stance, a stance that signals the start of a race. Dispo says, "Get ready, God of Destruction, because you're about to experience the ultimate power of Dispo."